it is a distinct pleasure and privilege to introduce to you His Excellency, the Governor of Texas, the Honorable Rick Perry.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, brother.
I think I'll stick with that.
Thank you. Thank you. Speaker Strauss, Julie, thank you both for being great partners, and I look forward to working with you again this session. Lieutenant Governor Patricia, it's been a distinct honor for me to get to spend the last 8 years working with you, and look forward to 4 more glorious years. And my fellow statewide elected officials, members of the judiciary, members of the House and the Senate, my friends, Texans, it's an honor to once again take the oath of office as your governor. I just think the Capitol looks awesome in maroon. You know, it's interesting, for 154 years, they kept an Aggie out of the governor's office. You know, there's some people out there that think I'm not ever going to leave. But here's the fact. Even if I'd never served a day in this office, the most blessed man on earth because of my wife. She has served this state as the First Lady with grace, with dignity, and simply put, I love you. And like you, I thank God every day for the gift of 2 wonderful children, Sydney and Griffin, and our wonderful new daughter-in-law, Meredith. And I'm blessed to have, I got to tell you, I got the best parents that a guy could ever hope to have. And Mr. and Miss Ray Perry, Mom and Dad, thank you both for being here. Wonderful in-laws. I mean, I'm one of those rare guys that I got the best mother-in-law in the world. She loves me, I love her. And Dr. Joe, thank you for being a great father-in-law. You know, both our fathers, they, like yours, David, they fought in World War II, and, you know, we didn't have to look past our family to find true heroes. I look around this audience today, and there are heroes amongst us here. Ordinary kinds, kind who get up every day and they work hard. You pay your taxes. You teach your children values that'll sustain them. And there's also some extraordinary heroes amongst us, scattered out across this crowd on this stage. Those who know the enormous price of freedom because they paid it with their own blood. And I speak of the veterans of our nation's wars, men and women who called to service, who answered that call. They trained for the rigors of battle. Then they pushed their bodies and their minds and their spirits to the limit. Their sacrifice, or their service, I should say, required sacrifices that no man or woman should ever have to endure. The terror of battle, the death of friends, the lasting injuries, the ones that you see and the ones that are unseen. For these men and women, sacrifice isn't just a word. It's a way of life. I'm talking about Texans like R.V. Bergen from Lancaster, Texas, who fought his way across the Pacific Islands of Peleliu and Okinawa. John Keith Wells of Abilene, Texas, a Navy Cross recipient who led a platoon of Marines through the hell of Iwo Jima. Ben Berger, who hit the Normandy beaches on D-Day with Earl Rudder in the 5th Ranger Battalion. And then there was teenage Marine Jay Kimbrough, Dallas, Texas, who was badly wounded when his assault helicopter was shot down southwest of Da Nang. And Captain Dan Moran, who you've already seen this morning, who was hit by an IED on Iraq's Anbar province. If anyone here in this audience today, if you defended freedom as a member of our armed forces, David, you and your veterans, please stand or wave so we can recognize you and tell you thank you for the service that you have done to this country. God bless you, every one of you. So on behalf of 25 million Texans, I want to thank you. Thank you for your service. Those of us fortunate enough to work in this building must always remember that it is an honor and a privilege to serve. You see, words like sacrifice should be reserved for those who have made our service possible. As we reflect together on all that has transpired since that icy cold of our last inaugural, much has changed in the world. While conditions have improved for our troops in Iraq, Dan, they've gotten worse in Afghanistan. Here at home, we've seen catastrophic events in the marketplace that have unleashed an economic recession unlike anything that we've seen for 70 years. The failure of major financial institutions led to tighter credit, massive foreclosures, staggering layoffs. Risky practices in the private sector were compounded by poor spending decisions in the public sector. With bloated stimulus spending, record debt, massive entitlement programs, Washington has America on a collision course with bankruptcy. Now, while Texas, we've fared better than most other states, we've not gone untouched by this global recession, and we cannot forget those Texans who are dealing with the fear and uncertainty of joblessness. And while much has changed in the last 4 years, one thing hadn't changed: the character, the resilience, the resourcefulness of our citizens. Texans just don't like the word impossible. Something has never been done before, it's just because we hadn't tried. We tamed the frontier. We farmed our own republic. We discovered oil, transformed the marketplace. We pioneered space. Matter of fact, the first word spoken from the moon was Houston. That's right. A city whose namesake, a person whose birthplace wasn't Texas, he was Texan by choice, like millions more who would follow. And while our budget challenges are substantial, for the good of the 25 million pioneers that we call Texans, for a people who work hard to get ahead, we must balance our budget without raising taxes. Since the last legislative session ended, I've traversed this great state, as David has, meeting with Texans from every walk of life, and I'm listening. And I heard their belief that tough economic times require strong leadership and tough choices for everyone. And I've heard their calls for government that's smarter, leaner, more accountable. They reminded me that there is no such thing as government money. It's the people's money in government's hands. Texas families have endured this long season of economic trouble by tightening their own budgets and making tough choices. Texas employers have streamlined operations. They're becoming more and more innovative and efficient, making their lives harder. Just makes our jobs easier. That's no answer. That's a failure of leadership. As Texans, we always take